لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
الله أكبر
الله أكبر
الله أكبر
الله أكبر
لبيك يا رسول الله
لبيك يا رسول الله
لبيك يا رسول الله لبيك يا علي
لبيك يا علي
لبيك يا علي
لبيك يا علي
لبيك يا حسين
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 لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا علي
बंद करवा देना मैंने कहा अच्छा है
लबैक या अली
वरना खामोशी रहती तो बैठ जाते हैं लोग
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا زينب
لبيك يا زينب.
We have one united voice here today. Stand for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Let us voices be heard. لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين.
We are two brothers of Hussein. We are the sons of Fatima al-Zahra. We are the daughters of Fatima al-Zahra. لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا مهدي
لبيك يا مهدي
لبيك يا حسين
لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا زينب لبيك يا زينب لبيك يا زينب.
Against the oppressors, like he said against the oppressors of his time, we take the same stand that we are against injustice. We disagree with this financial terrorist group such as ISIS and all other allied terrorist groups. So we need our voices to be heard. لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين. No, no to injustice.
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 No, no to injustice. No, no to injustice. Come on, we can do better. Set our voices against that injustice. Go down, go down.
غريب الله غريب الله غريبا غريب الله غريب الله غريبا حسين الله غريب الله غريب الله غريبا غريب الله غريب الله غريبا حسين الله
आज
मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो पाबंद ना हो आहे हाय पाबंद ना हो आहे रोने पे न पहरा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो या रब कोई मासूमा जिंदा में न तन्हा हो जिसको नींद आती शबीर के सीने पे जिसको नींद आती शबीर के सीने Hussain غريب الله غريب الله غريب غريب الله غريب الله غريب
When he said, do I have any supporters to support me? He's talking to us, people throughout the world, like we repeat, 25 million people. One of the biggest marches in the world occurs every year in Iraq, never to be heard, as we march and they march towards the shrine of Imam Hussain, alayhi salam, who said, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. It is his peaceful teaching that we continue against the oppressors of his time, the terrorists of his time, not for Islam. He took the stand for all of humanity, knowing he did not have the manpower to defeat the enemies. But he knew, hundreds of years later, thousands of years later, we will remember him. We will take his stand and we will carry it to our graves. We will take the stand he took, knowing his family, his sister, the children will all be oppressed in the oppressor's hands. He still took the stand because he knew the stand will continue and live on. His legacy will live on. And we stand today here in support of the stand he took, so that our voices be heard and let everyone know we stand against the oppressors of today, these politically and financially motivated groups that we totally condemn. No to oppression!
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 If we keep repeating the same thing, it's because we all know why we're here today. But the people around us do not know why we're here today. That is why we're here today, to make a stand and spread the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. To spread the legacy of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Hussain, a way of life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all, to the bystanders. We are gathered here today to commemorate the martyrdom of an Imam. A man who not only fought against injustice and oppression, but sacrificed everything he had to keep the message of peace and unity alive, no matter faith, race, or belief. The tyrants of Imam al-Hussein's time thought they could silence us. Our Muslim Ummah was spreading their blood. What has changed? America, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Shayateen al-Akbar are trying to wipe out the Shia nation through our blood. O tyrants, we do not fear death. O tyrants, we thrive to be martyred in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O tyrants, we are the sons and daughters of Fatima al-Zahra. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قَتَلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا. Don't think that the people who die in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are dead. We are more alive than all of you. We are more alive than all of you that are oppressing this nation, this world, no matter Muslim, Christian, whatever religion you are. Our Shia voices will never die. Let us raise our hands and ask Sayyidina Zainab. Oh Zainab, we stand here today in the commemoration of your brother. Oh Zainab, our voices will be heard till the day we die. Oh Zainab, we call out to you. Oh Zainab, we call out to you, let our voices be heard all the way to Karbala, all the way to the shrine of Imam al-Hussain in Karbala. لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين. لبيك يا حسين. لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين.
لبيك يا حسين. لبيك يا حسين. لبيك يا حسين. As you all know, as the brothers have been saying, we're here to commemorate the 40th of Imam al-Hussain. All around the world, people are marching towards Imam Hussain. Over 25 million to 30 million people are in Iraq marching to the shrine of Imam al-Hussain. The message of Imam Hussain is just not about crying and mourning his tragedy. That is a part of it. The message of Imam Hussain is to stand up against the injustice and oppression of your time. Like the brother before said, we need to stand up against the oppression of our time now to be called a true Hussaini. Imam al-Hussain stood up against the Yazid of his time, and we as the followers of Imam Hussain stand up against the Yazid of our time. To identify who the Yazid of our time is, we need to look around and see who are the people who are causing oppression around the world. Who are the people who are going against the message of Imam al-Hussain and trying to stop the message of Imam al-Hussain and the message of the free people. When we look towards Iraq, we have Saddam. Alhamdulillah, the voices of the Shias stood up and Saddam is no longer. We look right now in Palestine. the biggest tyrant of our time, Israel, exists, and it oppresses the people of Palestine. The Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Shia of Imam Hussain alayhi salam do not accept the Yazid of Israel. Down, down Israel!
Down, down Israel!
Down, down Israel!
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! لبيك يا رسول الله! لبيك يا رسول الله! لبيك يا رسول الله! لبيك يا علي!
لبيك يا علي!
لبيك يا علي!
لبيك يا علي!
خيبر خيبر يا صهيون جيش محمد قادمون خيبر خيبر يا صهيون جيش محمد قادمون الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
We look at the message of Imam Hussain, it has spread across the land to the land of Nigeria, where Sheikh Zakzaki, with the message of Imam Hussain and the call of Labbaik Ya Hussain, he was able to bring more than 25 to 30 million people to the message of Imam Hussain. The oppressors of Ali Saud and Israel and the US could not tolerate that. They captured the Sheikh Zakzaki and imprisoned Sheikh Zakzaki. Sheikh Zakzaki, because of his call to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he was imprisoned and he is currently in prison. We, the followers of Imam Hussain, call out to the people of the world to free Sheikh Zakzaki. 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 People often criticize us for speaking about politics in the name of Imam Hussain. However, if we don't speak up for the people who are calling for Imam Hussein's oppression, for calling for Imam Hussein's revolution, like Sheikh Zakzaki, then how can we call ourselves a Hussaini? Free Sheikh Zakzaki!
Free Sheikh Zakzaki!
Free Sheikh Zakzaki! When we look towards the land of Sham and Syria, Alhamdulillah, our revolutionaries stood up and fought against ISIS. They showed ISIS what the true Hussaini were. They showed what the message of Bibi Zainab was, to stand up against the Yazid of our time. They became the Abbas of their time and they defended the shrine of Bibi Zainab, and now ISIS is no more. But ISIS is trying to rise again. We would like to shout, down, down ISIS! Down, down ISIS!
Down, down ISIS!
Down, down ISIS!
Down, down ISIS!
We look to the land of Yemen. In Yemen, Ali Saud has been oppressing the people of Yemen. It is being said that is the world's largest humanitarian disaster. People are dying of hunger. People are being bombed by the Ali Saud, the oppressive regime of Ali Saud. Ali Saud are the Yazid of their time. They are the Ibn Ziyad of their time. They are the Shimr of this time, because they want to stop the message of Imam Hussain. But the Yemeni people are rising. With the help of the resistance from around the world, they are combating the Yazid of their time, because they know that if they follow the message of Imam Hussain, no Yazid can stop them. So we want to stop the war in Yemen. The Australian government had previously supported the war in Yemen. There are elements in the government who continue to support the oppression in Yemen. We want to call out and say, stop bombing Yemen! Stop bombing Yemen!
Stop bombing Yemen!
Stop bombing Yemen! Stop bombing Yemen! Stop bombing Yemen! Stop bombing Yemen! Stop bombing Yemen! As you all know, one of the oppression that's happening currently right now is with the people of Kashmir. Ali Saud, being friends with the tyrant Modi, have come together and started to oppress the people of Kashmir. They have come and there's been a curfew in Kashmir for a long time now. People are not able to contact their families. The procession of Imam Hussain was attacked this year, and similarly again in Nigeria this year the Arbaeen procession was also attacked. So we want the Kashmiri people to be free. We want them to have their own voice and be able to practice their faith correctly. So free, free Kashmir!
Free, free Kashmir!
Free, free Kashmir!
Free, free Kashmir!
Last but not least, the biggest the biggest oppression that is controlling this Al Saud, which is controlling the people in Israel, which is controlling the oppressions happening in Yemen, are the ideology of Zionism. The ideology of Zionism is the ideology of Yazid of today. They have come together under the banner of Zionism, whether they're ISIS, whether they're Al Saud, whether they're Israel, whether it's the US, whether whoever it is, people who are speaking against Imam Hussain come under the banner of Zionism. So we want to call out, we want to stop this ideology of Zionism from spreading throughout the world. Down, down Zionism!
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 I'd like to end with a small spoken word poetry written by Kinza Abbas. This poetry goes: the revolution of Hussain never ended on Ashura night. To spread it across centuries, it needed Zainab's and Sajjad's might. They took Hussein's message through Damascus streets. Their voices never quivered, even as the tyrants looked upon from their seats. They took the world who was upon justice and who had committed oppression. They exposed Yazid's treachery, propaganda, and aggression. They were locked up in prison, but their souls remained free. Even upon the tragic death of Ruqayya, to the tyrant they did not plead. For their faith was in their Lord, who controlled all affairs. They had faith that he would grant him success, despite their pain and tears. Upon being released on the 40th, they returned to the land of Karbala. For Hussein's ziyarat, they all yearned. The 40th thus represented the completion of Hussein's mission. The day of Arbaeen will forever be remembered as the victory of the Ilahi submission. This is why today millions make the journey to Hussein's shrine. With battered souls they come in a hope of following upon his Ilahi line. A line that welcomes all regardless of status and race. For Hussein's movement is not limited to religion, time or space. Join the millions of pilgrims upon Arbeen's revolution. For every step you take upon this journey will lead you to a spiritual evolution. Those that take this journey and truly act upon the message of Imam al-Hussain come back to their homes repeatedly saying, Janam Fida Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Labbaik Ya Hussain, Labbaik Ya Hussain, لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين.
Brothers and sisters, there's one phrase that we have quit saying on my behalf also, and this is because the media has played a massive role within today's society. A meme has been made of the greatest creation in the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he says Allahu Akbar, people of today, they go, oh, Allahu Akbar, bombing, terrorism, ISIS, Allahu Akbar. When you say this phrase, it's a meme, it's a mockery. Look around you, brothers and sisters. We are here today because of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of the rahmah of our Lord, because of the rahmah of God. So when we say Allahu Akbar and God is great, this is because we mean it. Not because some people are going to think, oh, what do they think or think about us? We say Allahu Akbar because we are united with the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In one voice, Allahu Akbar!
Allahu Akbar!
Allahu Akbar! Ya Allah, we march today to commemorate your beloved Ahl al-Bayt, to commemorate the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, to commemorate the martyrdom of his family. Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Assalamu alayka ya sahib al-asr wal-zaman. We will continue to wait for your emerge with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Labbaik ya Mahdi! Ahsant! Labbaik ya Mahdi!
Let us repeat ourselves and let everyone know why we're here today. Over 1400 years ago, the grandson of our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was martyred. His
standing against the oppressors of his time. Not for religion, not for Islam, but for all of humanity. He stood against the injustice that was occurring at his time. Knowing that he will be defeated, he did not have the manpower. When he called out and said, "Are there supporters to support me?" he knew there would be no one to answer. He knew there were people that would mourn for him and remember his legacy. But the brother said something that we should take into consideration, and that is, when we bring politics or something and we talk about the injustice of today, the oppressors of today, all of a sudden people are shocked. No, please don't discuss this. Like last March on the Ashid, we were going past the Israeli embassy and people were trying to stop the speech against Israel. People were saying, no, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to say, down, down, Israel, down. Like brother said, if we are not going to take the stand against the oppressors of today, we might as well not call ourselves Hussaini. If we are not going to stand against the injustice of today, we are not letting the legacy continue. We are not supporting Imam Hussain. Do know, we're not going to do what the others done. We waited till after Imam Hussain was oppressed and martyred, his family oppressed, women and children, and then they mourned over his death. The same people who didn't answer his call, the same people when he said, "Are there supporters to support me?" they did not answer the call. They answered to wealth, like these financially and politically motivated groups that proclaim they're Muslims. We need to come out today for the cause of Imam Hussain and let everyone know we stand against the oppressors. We stand against terrorism. We contend any extremist act that is against others, but will harm others. In the Quran it says, "He who kills one innocent human being, it is as if he has killed all of humanity." So our God, our peaceful God that teaches us, you harm one human being that is innocent, and you will be responsible for the harm of all of humanity. You will be responsible for the death of all of humanity. So when this stereotype about Islam being extreme people, terrorists, and they look at us as oppressors, look at us as people like Ali Saud, see as them as representatives of Islam. We need to come out today and say, no, these don't resemble Islam. We, the followers of Islam, will stand against their oppressors. These people who don't give rights to women in Saudi Arabia, that does not mean Islam denies women from their rights. That means that government denies their women rights. So do not allow governments and groups like that to resemble Islam. So people can look at them and say, oh, look how they treat their women. Islam is one of the first religions to bring human rights, to actually consider the female rights because they are being oppressed. Look at Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, the stand she took. She took such a great stand, just like her brother Imam Hussain. So women have a great and very big responsibility in Islam. And they too carry the teachings of Imam Hussain. The women have equal rights in Islam. So let us, our voices be heard. Let everyone know that we take all these teachings from Imam Hussain, the grandson of the Prophet. That stand he took and he got martyred for. He knew we would come today. 30 million people in Iraq marched towards his shrine to tell him, oh Hussain, we are here. Ya Zainab, look at us today. Look how many people march in the name of your brother. Look how many people go out and say, Ya Hussain, we are here for you. Only if we could be there. Ya ريتنا كنا معكم ننصركم أيها يا حسين. لبيك 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 يا حسين. Zainab continued the message of Imam al-Hussain. After Imam al-Hussein's martyrdom, she continued the message and stood in the face of Yazid. Sayyida Zainab played a big role in the name of humanity back then. She stood against oppression herself. It wasn't only Imam al-Hussain. Sayyida Zainab followed the footsteps of her brother, the footsteps of her father, the footsteps of her grandfather. Sayyida Zainab stood against injustice of her time, against oppression of her time. While she was in handcuffs, while she was oppressed, she continued to stand against oppression. Sayyida Zainab is a hero, just like Imam al-Hussain. So in one loud voice, Labbaik ya Zainab! Labbaik ya Zainab! Labbaik ya Zainab! We will continue to repeat why we're here today. Today is the 40th of the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussain, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Imam al-Hussain was martyred about 1,400 years ago. Imam al-Hussain was martyred standing against oppression. Imam al-Hussain stood in the name of peace. He fought in the name of humanity. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam said, is there any supporters who will support me on the day of Karbala? The reply was only from a few at the time. But after he was martyred, after he stood against oppression, he was martyred in the name of humanity. People continued to stand with him and say, yes, we will support your cause. We will continue to stand against oppression. We will continue to stand against injustice. And now, on the other side of the world in Australia, we continue after 1,400 years to tell Imam al-Hussain, we will continue to support your cause. We will stand against extremism. We will stand against inhumanity. We will stand against everybody that oppresses. We will stand against oppression now. And after 2,000, 3,000, we will continue to take this stand. And we will continue to grow. There will be more and more of us every year. And now in one united voice, I'd like everybody to answer the call of Imam al-Hussain. With Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain!
Rasulullah said, Allah will create a nation. Are that nation. Not let our voices be silent, let our voices be heard. Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! When we say Labbaik ya Hussain, we are at your service, O Hussain. We need to be at your service, O those who stand against oppression. O those who stand against injustice. O those who stand against tyranny. O those who stand against any injustice in the world. Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Zainab! Labbaik ya Zainab! Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Allahu Akbar!
I know we're repeating ourselves over and over again, but we will continue to do so until the rest of the whole march and the session is over. Glory be to God. Imam al-Hussain, when he went to fight, when he went to war in the name of humanity, he knew he will be defeated. It was the minority against the majority were the oppressors. And everybody continued to follow like sheep. They wanted to be with those who had the money, those who had the power,
Sir,
They were scared to stand in their faith
Mr.
and say, no, we will not.
ऊपर से खींच लो.
We will not agree with you.
ऊपर से
We
खींच
will
लो.
not be oppressed. We will not agree with you. Hussein.
यार ये
We will march with Hussein. Knowing that we're greedy for money and they continue to fight against them. Imam Hussain went knowing his sister, his wife, his children, everybody else that is dead will be oppressed. His whole family will be oppressed, and he continued to take his stand. Imam Hussain continued to stand against oppression. He was not scared to get martyred. He was not scared to be defeated. Because he was not defeated. He was not defeated after 1,400 years. We will continue to stand and support Hussein's cause.
फोन में ही.
In Iraq
What I'm
today,
speaking is being heard.
people are saying that 25 million or so walking and marching in Iraq.
Is it being live?
Imam Hussein's shrine.
शूरा कमेटी.
Well, I will tell you, they
Facebook
are
की
answering
वो है ना.
his call to stand against oppression, and they are renewing their vows towards him, saying, Ya Hussein, we will continue to support your cause. We will continue to stand against injustice. We will continue to stand against oppression. We will never stand in the face of oppression. We will always stay against them until there is no oppression around the world and there's no injustice around the world. Not in Israel, not in Yemen, not in Pakistan, not in India, not in Lebanon, not in Syria. Nowhere.
Like this.
We will not agree with
वहाँ से
oppression.
I think they go down or something. एक घंटे का होता है ये वाला. चहलुम के दिन तरफ नहीं मिलता है. नहीं होता ही नहीं है.
Standing against oppression.
Good. This was the main thing though.
So in one voice, please, everybody, from front to back, everybody answer the call of Imam Hussain. Would you beg ya Hussain? Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Ali! Labbaik ya Ali! Labbaik ya Ali! Labbaik ya Ali! Labbaik ya Mahdi!
Labbaik ya Mahdi!
Labbaik ya Mahdi!
Labbaik ya Mahdi!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Labbaik ya Hussain!
Allahu Akbar!
يتيما مغربا أيما استتقاضى نقر ندارا من يتيما مغربا أيما استتقاضى نقر ندارا بخرابا ياما يتيم قشتم بابا مقر ندارا بخرابا ياما بابا مگر ندارا یتیما مغربت ایما است تقاضا دیگر ندارا یتیما مغربت ایما است تقاضا دیگر ندارا بخرابا یاما یتیم گشتم بابا مگر ندارا بخرابا بابا مگر ندارا من یتیما مغربت ایما است تقاضا دیگر ندارا من یتیما مغربت ایما است تقاضا دیگر ندارا بخرابا
अच्छा
मैं ऑलरेडी ये ख़त्म हो जाए पूरा, ये ख़त्म हो जाए पूरा तो फिर मैं जाऊँगा वहीं पे, क्योंकि तो फिर ये अच्छी आ रही है व्यू ना, इसीलिए। हाँ हाँ, तब उधर चलेंगे जब औरतें स्टार्ट होंगी।
और मोहम्मद व अहले बैत मोहम्मद सलावत।
लब्बैक या हुसैन, लब्बैक या हुसैन. Ladies and gentlemen, all you must be wondering what is happening here. People dressed in black clothes. This must raise a question in your mind that what is happening here. This is a procession to remember Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, who sacrificed himself against a very tyrant leader. His sacrifice has a message. His sacrifice has a lesson, not just for Muslims, but for people of all different religions, whether they follow our religion or not. His message was for justice. His message was for peace. I'll give you a short and brief explanation of who is Hussain. Hussain is he who gave everything he had, including his life, for the greater good and for the benefit of those around him. And his epic legacy continues to inspire millions across the world on a daily basis. Today, this is not the only procession that is happening in Melbourne. There are millions of people who are commemorating this procession across the world. In Iraq alone, where there's the tomb of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, more than 30 million people have joined together to remember this hero of Islam, this hero of humanity. And he is the one who sacrificed not just himself, but his family as well. The moral values and rights of his society was slowly being eroded under a new and tyrannical ruler. Imam Hussain witnessed how the fundamental human rights of his fellow citizens are being usurped, and he chose to make a stand and not to bow to the corrupt leader. This has a lesson. We live in an era where there's injustice everywhere, and the message of Imam Hussain resonates with this era. So I would like to chant, and I would like brothers and sisters to chant with me. Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain! This chant means, "Oh Hussain, we are with you." It has been more than 1300 years that Imam Hussain sacrificed himself, but his lesson, his preachings, his sacrifice would be remembered as long as we live. And I again say, Labbaik ya Hussain! Labbaik ya Hussain!
Maulana will deliver a speech.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allow me to give a small talk about this procession to the people that are not familiar with what is going on. Brothers and sisters from all faiths, religions, denominations, people from all walk of life, we have a message, and this is why we have taken to the street with a message. This message is embedded in the sufferings of Hussain, and this procession is just a small sample of what is going on in Iraq right now. Over 20 million people from all walks of life, from different continents, from different countries, from different ethnicities, they have converged to Karbala right now. Yes, Iraq, despite all the risks, despite the security situation in that country, they walk and march towards the mausoleum of Hussain. Who is Hussain? He is the grandson of our Prophet Rasulullah. Hussain is now a symbol of love, an icon of freedom, an icon of justice. One day Hussain stood alone. He confronted an entire army of more than 30,000 armed men that were there to shed his blood, that were thirsty to shed his blood and his family's blood. Hussein did not surrender to them. Why? Because they wanted to enslave Hussein. They wanted Hussein to follow their orders. But Hussein fought against oppression, fought against injustice, fought against tyranny, and he single-handedly brought down an entire empire that was built on tyranny. You know what Hussein's message is today? Hussein's message to us, to everyone, irrespective of their faith and religion, Hussein's message is that God exists. Brothers and sisters, against all odds, you know what they did to Hussein? They brutally decapitated him. They severely wounded him. They stumbled upon him with the hooves of their horses. They raided his tents. They burned down his tents over the head of his family and children. They killed his 6-month-old infant when Hussein brought him to the middle of the battlefield, telling his enemies that my 6-month-old infant is thirsty and his mother doesn't have any milk to nurse him. They killed him with an arrow while he was in the hands of his father, Hussein alayhi salam. You know what Hussein's reaction was? You know what Hussein's response was? Hussein's response was, what gives me solace, what comforts me, even though he was besieged by an entire army, he said, what gives me solace is that God is watching. What changed the equation, what changed the calculus was none other than God the Almighty. Yes, God was responsible for ousting the empire of tyranny to teach us a lesson. Truth will always triumph, even if it goes under the hooves of horses, and falsehood will crumble, even if it builds an empire. This is the core of Imam al-Hussein's message. Imam al-Hussein's message is about love. Imam al-Hussein's message is about harmony. Imam al-Hussein's message is about unity. This is why we see the millions of people marching towards his mausoleum in Iraq. They unite under the banner of Hussein. They unite under the standard of Hussein. And I urge all the brothers, all the sisters, irrespective of your faith, to go to Iraq. The security situation is not bad. 20 million people are marching now. All of them will return safely to their countries. The security situation should not deter you from going. There are rabbis that participate in that procession. There are priests that participate in this procession. There are people from all faiths and all denominations that participate, only to see and to experience what I am talking about, and to see Hussein's love being reflected on the people marching, and to see Hussein's call for unity being reflected on the people marching to his mausoleum, and to see the people's generosity, to see how over 1.8 billion meals are distributed free of charge to the people that visit the shrine of Hussein, to see people's morality, to see how people unite together against oppression and against injustice, and to spread the love. This is the core message of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. We ask God to grant us the tawfiq to visit him next year. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Please raise your both hands and say Labbaik ya Hussein. Labbaik ya Hussein. Labbaik ya Hussein. Labbaik ya Hussein. मुश्के है शाम दा सफर सतले मुश्के है शाम दा सफर सतले हो यारे हाजतों दा चुप चुप सजाद रहंदा पूछे हाल कोई रोके ना शाम दा माशाअल्लाह भाई डिक्लाइन कर एक है। अरे आओ भाई सामने आओ।
Hey, come here, back.
Hussain ya shana, la ilaha illallah. Man Hussain ya shana, la ilaha illallah. Paswan Qur'ana, la ilaha
بس